presentations for local organizations. We do them on a variety of mental health related topics, like stress management, coping skills, task organization, problem solving skills, compassion fatigue, many more. The services we provide are currently virtual. We do individual counseling and group counseling. We work with families and children. We do children's groups. So all of that we provide free of charge. So that's us. Today, we'll be talking about mental health in the age of COVID-19. So 2020 will be remembered for many things, you guys, not just COVID-19, but there were wildfires, locusts, the deaths of some prominent people like George Floyd and the protests that ensued, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Chadwick Boseman, just to name a few. So 2021 now is off to a bang up start, right? And we're still dealing with the effects of COVID-19, even though we it seems like in the beginning of 2020, we thought that somehow COVID-19 would miraculously resolve itself, but the numbers are high and people are still dealing with the struggles. It's wreaked havoc globally and in every area of our lives. It's all been impacted with the virus constantly mutating and the world straining to keep up, right? With all the changes, it's caused us to make some pretty significant changes in our own lives. So during this presentation, we'll take a look at how stress from the pandemic has affected us and how it's affected the people that we know and we love and care about as well. So the effects of COVID-19. COVID-19 has brought a slew of challenges. Here's some of the effects listed here: increased anxiety and depression, decreased access to care, social isolation, fear of infection or transmission, changes in finances or job stability, loss of loved ones, quite a few losses, and grief over the loss of not only our loved ones, but what we considered normal. Overeating or not eating enough is also one of the things I know.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry. I know I can't be the only one to gain the COVID-15, right? I'm not the only one. So there's been lots of effects during this time.
When we go to the MDR, because I was like, that doesn't mean a whole lot. Like,
yeah.
lay out the whole
I'm gonna mute everybody, and then you're gonna have to unmute yourself. Okay.
all right. Well,
when is that MDR?
we don't have it scheduled yet. I've got a staffing tomorrow.
Let me see.
So, okay.
Can they include Rose on?
Let me ask somebody's.
It's Rosanna McLaren.
Okay, hold on.
Look if she could know about the staffing, and I'm assuming this is the one Sarah.
Okay. Now you can unmute, Lisa.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, everyone. So recognizing the signs in children of stress, right? In children and teens. While we talk about what stress looks like at different ages, I want you to think about your life and the people around you. Are you seeing some of these symptoms? Irritability, tantrums, defiance, unwillingness to cooperate, especially if they're doing remote learning, right? The kids not really wanting to get that work done over on the internet. Tearfulness, regression, nightmares or sleep disturbances, waking up at night. My son woke up several times last night. Clinginess, defiance, we mentioned before, moodiness, withdrawal, isolation, lashing out physically and or verbally, ambivalence, difficulty making decisions, like not really knowing which way to go, what to do. Poor academic performance. Children their grades may be going down, or just not engaged in school like they used to be. Risky behaviors, you may see, especially in teens, doing some things that they wouldn't have done before, maybe going out, even without a mask is considered a risky behavior now, right? Not to mention substance use, and things of that nature. So in adults, there are some additional signs. Lack of motivation, withdrawal, isolation, difficulty concentrating, maladaptive coping skills, sleep disturbances, poor eating or weight gain, substance use and abuse again, and burnout, right? So work stress, everybody's jobs are changing. So the stress from that is also one of the signs if you're getting burned out quickly. A CDC study of 5,412 participants said that nearly 31% of the respondents are having symptoms of anxiety or depression during this pandemic. 26% reported trauma and stress-related disorders. 13% reported turning to substances as a means to cope, right? So 32% increase in alcohol sales over since 2019. So a Kaiser health tracking poll, actually, they did a recent study that they released this month, February of 2020. And they found that many adults are reporting negative impacts on their mental health and their well-being. There's 36% of adults reported difficulty sleeping. 32% reported difficulty, like challenges with eating or eating well. Worsening chronic conditions, up 12% due to the worry and the stress over the coronavirus. So that's in addition to the increase of alcohol consumption and substance abuse. That same US, that CDC survey says that suicide has also been an issue, right? 1 in a quarter of young people reported considering suicide that in the past month or so of the pandemic. 31% of caregivers, right? Because caregivers, people who are responsible for taking care of other people, that stress of taking care of themselves and others, 31% considering suicide. That's a very high rate. When you look at 2019 and the difference between 2019 and 2021, a whopping 41% of households are reporting symptoms of anxiety and depressive disorder. So that's a great percent, 40%. And it was 11% in 2019. So we're seeing lots of changes because of the pandemic, lots of increase in stress and stress-related disorders.
Lisa, there's a question here that says, how are these signs different from depression? Can you explain a little bit that?
The signs of anxiety?
Uh-huh. The ones that you were talking before, how are they different from depression?
Okay, so there are some overlap. There's some overlap. We're talking about stress. And so when the signs that I talked about previously in the previous slide, Maria, you can go back to it if you would like. Are basically stress related signs. And so signs like withdrawal, lack of motivation, difficulty concentrating, those are also signs of depression as well. Sleeping and eating, very, very similar, right? And so a lot of people that are experiencing this stress, it's going to manifest itself as depression or anxiety. So that's a very good question. So there's lots of overlap, very, very similar experiences. And then with depression, you'll have that, how long is it lasting, right? Is it causing a significant impairment to your daily function, those kinds of things before it's able to be clinically diagnosed. But thanks for asking. Okay, issues family may be struggling with. Concerns about the risk of being exposed to the virus at work or at school or at home. My daughter actually got it from school and brought it home. So we all ended up with the coronavirus. It wasn't fun, but that's something to be concerned about. I don't know, you guys may be concerned about that too. And please feel free to type things into the chat if you have a question, if there's, a comment that you want to make, or just to participate in the discussion, because I'm not out here alone. It's a discussion that we're having together. So if you've experienced any of these, please feel free to type it in the chat. Taking care of your personal and family needs while working. So many of us are working from home, myself included, or even going off to work every day. And so you have to make sure that you're, being careful, and that you're wearing your mask and changing your mask and getting new masks and sanitizing and cleaning, and the things that you have to do additionally to make sure your kids are ready for school, and taking water bottles and wipes and just different things. So these things are changing, and they're causing additional stress and strain. Managing a different workload and expanding household duties. Right? So additional cleaning and sanitizing, more things that you have to do at work. All this stuff is just adding to our stress. Adapting to a different routine and or schedule. Unstable financial resources and employment. People have lost their jobs. Some people aren't able to find new employment. So your finances are changing. Our finances are changing. Feelings of inadequacy because of the challenges. It's hard to keep up. There's lots of people who asked, I saw a comment on Facebook the other day where the mom was like, if one more person says I couldn't do it, parenting and homeschooling or schooling at home during a pandemic, if one more person tells me I can't do it, I'm going to explode. Because guess what? I can't do it either. It's too hard, but it has to be done. So here we are, right? Everybody's being overwhelmed and doing much more than they've ever expected to have to do. And that's just part of what we're dealing with right now. And then with that cold snap and the loss of power and energy and water and just freezing pipes, and now on top of everything, doing repairs, it's much too much. Lack of access to tools and providers needed to take care of the responsibilities. And so that's another thing too, right? I don't know if you had a pipe break and tried to call a plumber and couldn't find one, because a lot of people weren't able to get one and had to deal with flooding in their home. So there's lack of access. Hours, people's of different providers, their hours have changed. The amount of people that they're seeing on a given day has changed. So that's a reduction of accessibility. Learning new communication tools and dealing with technical difficulties. I don't know about you, but I didn't use Zoom very much at all prior to the pandemic. We used it a little, I think, just for my family, but not like this. But now I do it for work. I do it, every day, and some of you do too. Zoom fatigue, right? Work-related stress. Some of us need to use Zoom or other platforms, other forms of video chatting for our jobs every day to stay connected. But at what expense, right? What are we sacrificing? What's happening? Being on a video call requires more focus than just face-to-face. Your screen could freeze, your calls could drop, you hear echoes, you hear dogs barking in the distance, all the while a dozen or more faces are staring at you all at once. And it can be extremely tiring. It requires you to work harder to process those nonverbal cues, the facial expressions, the tone and the pitch of voice and body language. It's much more difficult over video. Paying attention to those things consumes a lot of energy And even if it's a social call, you're talking to a family member or a friend, how can you relax? You know you're on camera, you're physically, you're aware that people are watching you. And so, you know, that's additionally stressful. Everybody's looking at you, all eyes on you. And that could be stressful, especially if you don't like being the center of attention. So whether you're in quarantine, whether you're working from home or otherwise, video chat is going to come with some additional stressors to your life. It's going to add more to your life. We have to use, we used to have our work separate from our home and separate, and then our social lives and interactions were all separate. And now they're all happening in the same place. You know, a lot of it is all happening in your home office, right? Your dining room table. So that's additional stress. So let's talk about resilience, right? So now we want to build some resilience and manage the stress that we're experiencing. Children often need routine and structure to feel safe, and so do we. It isn't easy to set a routine when things may be changing from day to day or from week to week, but the better we're able to do that, the more secure they will feel and the more secure we will feel. So some of these things may, you know, be listed in one age group or be helpful to another age group. So there's some overlap between that, but establishing a routine, allowing your children to express themselves, building a strong demonstrating coping skills, embracing mistakes. That's a hard one for us to do sometimes. Embracing those mistakes. Some things we get wrong, we're going to get it wrong. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go the way we planned. Try again. Teach problem solving skills. So if your child is having a tantrum, or if they're just totally having a meltdown, then teach them how to not only, you know, address the meltdown, but teach them how to cope and how to deal with whatever it is that set them off in the first place. That's something that we do as parents anyways, but be a little bit more conscientious, I guess, and try a little bit harder to not just address the behaviors, but and teach problem solving skills. Go outside, spend out some time outside. A lot of people are spending time in the house when they can be outside enjoying the weather. It's been, except for the last week or so, it's been very warm in Texas. So spend time outside and with your kids. Be flexible whenever possible. Create opportunities to help others. Take breaks. Teach self-care. Young people need that too. Kids need that too. So parents, try to incorporate time to take care of yourself. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, some ways you can do that, but also ways that the kids can spend that quality time nurturing themselves. Accept change. Allow for freedom to maintain social networks safely, of course. So your teenagers or your children may require some extra effort from you to help them to socialize with their peers. Teach how to identify stressors. Be honest about COVID-19. So you want to be age appropriate when you're talking to them about what's happening in the world, new things of information about vaccines and such, mutating viruses, but talk to them about it, because they're going to pick up things and you don't want them to be more afraid than they need to be. Look for opportunities for self-discovery. So because the world is changing around us, so do we. We're changing too. And we don't have to just change in response to the external pressures. We can look for opportunities for growth and for development of our own personalities and skills and characters and everything about us.
Lisa, I just want to read what one of the messages box says. And this is from Shani. I'm not sure how to articulate that. I apologize. She said, or considering that parents kids and teens are experiencing these things during the pandemic, has this presentation been given to teachers, administrators, district representatives, so as a balance can be created between school work, school pressures, and what students and parents have to face at home? That's a great question. Anna would probably have to answer that, but I am in that school and staff members, administrators, teachers do have professional development each year that are required by the school districts. Anna, do you want to add?
Yes, we do. And I think that Fulvia Shaw, she is with
Yes.
Director of Curriculum. Are you there, Fulvia? Okay, she just responded to everyone on the chat, and she said that this year all teachers and all counselors in Alvin ISD has been trained in trauma-informed practices so that they can better support the needs of their students and their own needs. So yes, we have offered that. That's something that the district has taken very seriously throughout, since the start of the pandemic last year. And we are offering not just that we offer at the beginning and we're not doing this anymore. We continue to do this throughout the school year.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so building resilience and managing stress in adults. So the first thing for grownups, keep a regular sleep schedule. I resist this. I don't really do it, but it's important to do it to build resilience and to manage that stress. Keeping a regular sleep schedule is important. It helps with our body's internal clock and keeping that balance. Take breaks from work to stretch, exercise, or just check in with your supportive colleagues, coworkers, family, and friends. People are encouraged, the CDC and SAMHSA have encouraged you to create a buddy, to create some kind of partner that will hold you accountable for your just things that you need to do. Healthcare, someone that if you work in healthcare, someone who knows the jargon, someone who understands the work that you do. If you're an at-home mom, someone who, or dad, someone who understands what it's like to be at home with the kids and who can talk to you and say, hey, are you doing this? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you making sure that this happens? Someone who, when you vent, they understand what it is that you're talking about. So not just your regular friends, but actually someone who can relate closely to what you're experiencing day to day, and have them hold you accountable for including self-care, for taking things like these tips that we're giving you and incorporating them into your lives if you haven't already. Spend time outdoors. We talked about that before, either being physically active or relaxing, taking in that fresh air and the sunlight. All of that is good for your health, your mental health, your physical health, and managing stress. If you work from home, set a regular time to end your work for the day if possible. If you've transitioned from working out in the community to coming home and working from home, then there's a lot of those routines that people usually do to kind of end their day. So people often will, I know as a counselor, sometimes we kind of make sure that we close everything, and so that we can kind of take a step back away from our client, what our clients have been experiencing all day, and that in transition to bringing our minds towards home. But that's harder to do if your counseling session is happening in your home, right? Via Zoom or some other platform. So make sure that you set a regular time to end and incorporate some type of ritual or routine to signal to your brain and your body that this is the end of my workday. One of the things that I make sure that I do is pack up all of my things. So I'm quite tempted to leave my laptop on my desk and my papers and stuff so that I can access them again the next day. But I close them down. I close my laptop, put my papers in my bag. I make sure that I shut down so that I'm telling myself and my brain that work is over. So try to do something like that to make that distinction for you. Practice mindfulness techniques. Being mindful of your surroundings. Sometimes there's so much going on. So you guys may be familiar with mindfulness techniques, but because there's so much activity, it's harder to kind of be aware of what's happening around you, to listen to the sounds of the birds, to experience, just allow yourself to experience what's going on. When you eat dinner, instead of just rushing through it and eating it, but to savor it and to taste it and to enjoy it. So practice mindfulness. Do things that you enjoy during non-work hours. Now, that's not just limited to non-work hours. Sometimes you might listen to music, but if you are working from home, or if you have the type of job that allows that, or even if you're home with your kids and your children enjoy listening to music, you can put on something that's relaxing. Maybe not kid songs all day, but some relaxing music might be helpful to kind of help you to de-stress and to create a positive atmosphere while you're working or cleaning or playing with your children. Connect with others. Use phone calls, emails, text messages, snail mail, video chat, social media. Talk to people you trust about your concern. How are you feeling? How is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting you? And we are tempted to hold that in a lot of times, especially as Texans. I'm not originally from Texas, but I know that you guys are strong people. And so the temptation is there to hold that stuff in and to keep on moving forward. But it's important to connect with others and to share how you're doing, to allow yourself to vent and to release some of the stress that builds up or that can build up over time with back-to-back disasters and issues that come about daily. Public health actions such as physical distancing, mask wearing, all of that can make you feel isolated and lonely, and it increases your stress and anxiety. But these actions are necessary to reduce the spread of COVID-19, right? So coping with stress in a healthy way will help you and the people that you care about in your community to become stronger. And I like this one. It kind of relates to the other one. You want to check on other people. So in addition to allowing yourself to speak to your friends, to talk to others about what you're experiencing, checking on others helps to improve your sense of control and belonging and self-esteem. Look for safe ways to offer social support to others, especially if they're showing signs of stress, such as depression or anxiety. If you give them if you speak to someone, you talk to them and you're sharing what's going on with you, and then you give them an opportunity to share themselves so they can talk to you and you're there for them. So it's not just you dumping on people, because I know we're tempted to feel like, oh, well, I don't want, everybody has their own issues. I don't want to just dump on them. Well, guess what? You're providing them an opportunity to share what's going on with them as well. Resources. So identify those things over which you have no control and do the best you can with the resources that are available to you. Please, please, please utilize the resources that you have available. That's physical resources, if it's financial or whatever that's available, especially now since the freeze, the emotional resources, people that are there for you, and spiritual resources, church, prayer, meditation, all of those things. Utilize all of those for yourself and as well as your students and families. Please reach out when you're running low, or even if you're not running low, reach out anyway, because it's important to keep yourself full and build up. If your tank is empty, then you don't have anything for anyone else. As moms, we like to run on E. Dads, parents, We like to run on E, right? Well, we don't like to, but sometimes we find ourselves doing it. But the better you're able to take care of yourself and replenish yourself, the better you're able to do that for your children and make sure they have what they need. Who to call for help? Us. So we are Texans Recovering Together, and here's our some information about us. Please reach out and give us a call. Maria, if she hasn't already, will put the numbers in the chat and our email addresses as well. We have our COVID-19 support line and our 24-hour crisis hotline. So there's someone available 24 hours. If you feel like you're in an emergency, you can't wait, the COVID-19 support line, that's how you access us from 8 until 5, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But then if you are in an emergency situation or mental health situation and you really just feel like you need to speak to someone because you might be someone's a danger to themselves or someone else, then please, by all means, call the 24-hour crisis hotline or 911. If you feel that you or a friend or family member could be misusing alcohol or other substances, including prescription drugs, as a means of coping, please reach out for help. The Gulf Coast Center does have a substance use program. And so that number is there, 800-643-0967, and call for some additional support. If you call the COVID-19 support hotline to reach myself or Maria, please remember to press option 8. For some reason, there's a lot of choices available and you get to us by pressing option 8. And we've restarted our mom support group. So Mondays at 7 p.m. And if you're interested in that, please also call the COVID-19 support line and we will give you details. Gulf Coast Center offers lots of services. You'll see some of them here: intellectual and developmental disability services, housing, disaster recovery, forensics, mental health and counseling, substance use recovery, physical health services, veteran services, the crisis hotline that we mentioned before, psychiatric services, HIV outreach and education, transportation services also. And then NAMI Gulf Coast, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. As we mentioned before, our programs offer free and confidential services for everyone in Brazoria counties, Brazoria and Galveston counties. And NAMI Gulf Coast is also providing services, and they provide services to schools as well, including in ending the silence one about mental health awareness and allyship and suicide prevention. So it's a very good program. Any questions?
Okay, at this time, I open the microphones. If you want, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. If you rather to speak to us instead of texting or putting a message, you can do that. You can unmute your microphone.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I joined in a little bit late. I had a meeting run a little long. What are some resources that either the school has or you guys have at the Gulf Coast Center for young children? I have a 5-year-old, she's in kinder. I just lost my sister to COVID. And it's just something that I want to get her, just have the ability to talk to someone about in case, when I tell her, I haven't told her yet, in case it impacts her.
Okay, thank you for asking that question, and I'm sorry for that. Loss is profound, I'm sure, and I'm sorry to hear that. I would like you to contact us just to get some support in that, but also we at the Gulf Coast Center on our Facebook page, we're actually doing lots of story time book readings on Tuesdays at 1. If you go to our Facebook page, we'll do live storytime readings at 1. And those books have been about like identifying feelings, processing feelings, understanding your emotions. They've been on all kinds of things, like, you know, teaching your kids about cultural diversity, different types of families. So even if you haven't seen the live, the videos are there. So if you want to go through and try to find a video that you think your child will enjoy, then that's also an option. And we do sessions, video, virtual or phone sessions with anyone. So it may be a little more challenging to interact with a 5-year-old on a video chat, but that is something that's also an option.
Through our program.
Yes, through our program.
And we added the phone number and our emails on the chat box if you need more information.
And also, is your child at one of our schools?
Yes.
Okay, so one thing that you can do is talk to the counselor at the school. Just make sure that the counselor is informed of what is going on and what happened. And, you know, the counselor is right there. Your child can have access to the counselor at any time. And this could be something that you can even do when you tell her, if you feel that you need the support of somebody, you can ask the counselor and you can have a meeting where the counselor is with you. So you are not alone when you are talking to your child. And then your child will know that the counselor is somebody that knows what is happening. So the counselor will also make sure that the teacher is aware of what is going on, you know, because we want to make sure that the child is well taken care of by everybody that has to be with her in the day-to-day, you know, interactions every day. So make sure that you reach out to the counselor. You can write them an email, you can request an appointment, and, you know, just make sure that you have that support from your own school.
Okay, thank you.
We go through our spiel really quickly in the beginning about the services that we provide, but we do offer services. We can do, it's brief and it's not traditional counseling as such, but for 5, 6-ish sessions, you guys are free to call us. You can set up regular weekly or even more frequent appointments to just talk and to share about what's going on with you. We can talk about coping skills and problem solving, whatever it is that you're dealing with. We can help connect you to resources that are available in the community that you may not know about, and just listen and just support you in what you're dealing with in this stressful time. So please feel free to reach out, call us at the COVID-19 support line at Gulf Coast Center. Any other questions? You can't. Oh, she's talking to someone.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, if we don't have any more questions, thank you so very much for being here. We hope that this was helpful for you. And if you still have any more questions that you didn't feel like writing on the chat, you can reach out directly to me in the district. Ana Pasarela is apasarela@alvinisd.net. I'm gonna write that here, but I was the one that sent you the email for this workshop. And I'll make sure that I reach out to the right people to answer your questions if they were not answered today. Also, this will be, it's being recorded, so we are gonna post this in the district website. If you want to go ahead and go back and, you know, listen to it again, it will be there. And if you know any parents that was not able to come today, just let them know that it will be posted probably by next Monday. We always like to wait until we do the Spanish workshop. That's going to be tomorrow. And then we put them in YouTube and then we'll share with everybody. But thank you so much. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Lisa, for helping us and for giving us your time and all the resources that you both offer to the community. We really appreciate everything that you do for us.
Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great afternoon, everybody.